Hello everyone. So we left off at the beginnings of CSS. So we looked at CSS in general, the three types of CSS: inline, in the head tag, and as an external style sheet. And we discussed why I only want you to use CSS as an external style sheet from now on. And then we looked at our index page, and we looked at the fact that we are doing what's called redefining an HTML tag or redefining an element. And the takeaway from that is if I write a CS rule for the H1, the H2, the H3, or any other element, that rule will apply for anything that is tagged with that element. So in other words, all my H1 tags are going to be dark cyan. They're all going to have the font family Helvetica or Arial, or failing that, any sans serif that's out there on the user's computer, and they're all going to have a font size of 25 pixels. Okay, so we also talked about the three types of CSS, and I said we're going to learn more about that later. Right now, I just want you to focus on redefining an HTML element, but we can also have IDs and classes. So we kind of glossed over that a little bit, but that's okay. For this project, I just want you to focus on using redefining HTML elements. So if it's in the H1 tag, it's always going to look a certain way. And then I said, hey, this is the CSS right here that controls this menu here. So we're going to break that down. And I actually have this saved as a code snippet, and I like to have a little library of code snippets. So this is a code snippet that we can add to, and we're going to get a little bit ahead of ourselves right now. Okay, so, and I'm actually going to space this out so we can see this a little bit better. It is composed of redefining four HTML tags. Okay, the unordered list tag itself, the list item tag, list item A, or the link. So list item plus the tag A. As we know, the tag A is for anything that is a link. And then we have list item A hover. So that's when the user is hovering over the actual button. Okay, so in index.html, here's how our unordered list looks. So I've asked everyone to set up their unordered list as for navigation and to put the links in there for the pages that you intend to create. In other words, even if you haven't created these pages yet, I still want you to have them in the list and to name them, because this is going to become the template by which all of our other pages are created. So right now we're creating the index page, and we're creating it as a template. We are going to use all the CSS from the index page. We're going to use the whole index page, and so we can't leave any of these blank, or we're going to create a problem for ourselves. So even if you don't have these pages built, I want you to put some names in there and make sure, and then we're going to style our nav bar here. So you notice I have nav. Within the nav, there's my unordered list, and then I close out the nav. And then how do I make it look like this? Okay, as I said, I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself, but I think you can handle it. Okay, I'm going to actually look at my drop-down menu so that I look at it by itself. Okay, so we're redefining first the unordered list tag. List style type, none. That means no bullets of any kind. Margin of 0, padding of 0. So you all know margin is space outside the box. Actually, you don't know that yet because we haven't discussed the box model. Padding is space inside the box, and those are both set to 0. And here's something that is crucial: overflow. Okay, so what if the text is too big for the box? You have to decide what to do with it then. So there's a lot of ways to handle overflow. You can have it hidden. You can have it be outside the box, which is not good, or you can have it scroll. So we're saying all overflow will be hidden, it will be invisible. And background color, pretty easy to understand. We have a hashtag of 333, which is black, and we could of course make that any color that you like. Okay, so the unordered list itself, List style type none removes the bullet. Watch what happens if I take that out. Actually, I'm going to Command X that, save it, and you actually can't see it right now because the bullet would be black. So I'm going to make this a different color. So let's adjust our background color here. Oh, you know what? It would really help if I was in the actual styles. Okay, so list style type none, and by the way, that's an extra credit mistake that you can get. Background color. Let's say background color is going to be, I don't know why I'm stuck on this cadet blue color. I really need to choose something else. All right, let's go with cornflower blue. No, that is ugly. I really get indecisive about color. All right, so background color. We're going to go with cadet blue because it matches, or dark cyan because it matches. Okay, that actually matches pretty, that's the same color, so it matches fine. But let's take list style type out. Hey, look at what we get. We get these ugly buttons, or we get these ugly bullets. We don't want that, so we're setting the list style type to none. Let's see what our options are there. List style type. Armenian, circle, decimal, disc, Georgian, inherit, lower alpha, lower Greek, lower Latin, lower Roman, or none. So you have a lot of options for the look and feel, and we're choosing none. We don't want this to have a bullet type. We want it to be just plain. Okay, a margin of 0 and padding of 0. Watch what happens when we pump up the padding. Let's do 4 pixels. Okay, well, that didn't work so well for us. It might work if I didn't have such long names, but as you can see, that gives me a fatter menu. So I'm doing padding of 0. Let's see what happens when I change the margin. Okay, so margin is actually a little bit easier to change. That's just the space between the box and the next element. So if I make the margin 20, pixels, we would get, again, this is a responsive element, but I'm giving it a margin of 0, so there's no chance that I can have a stacked menu. So let's go back to margin of 0. Okay, so margin of 0, padding of 0. Overflow of hidden. Let's see what that does. Overflow. Here are our options. Auto, hidden, inherit, scroll, or visible. Visible means if it goes outside the box, you see it. Auto, if it goes outside the box, you see it. Hidden means if it goes outside the box, you don't see it. So that could come back to bite us if we had a really, really long menu. So what we would want to do in that case is to have a drop down. Now that's not a part of this menu. We're going to do that later. And then of course our background color is kind of a no-brainer there. All right, list item. We're asking it to float. What is a float? A float is an alignment tool. So I can have things float left. I can have them float right. Now look what happens when I take the float out. That's how we get a vertical menu. I don't want that. I want a horizontal menu. But let's look at our options for float. And we're going to cover float in more depth. So it can be inherit, left, none, or right. So we want our items to float left. And see, you can even see that there's a little bitty space in between there, and that should disappear. Okay, all right, so that's our list item. It floats left, it aligns left. This list item floats left, this list item floats left, so it floats right next to it. This one floats right next to it, left. This one floats right next to it, left. Okay, easy. Okay, list item A. That means how do the links display? So they display inline block. Okay, I'm going to take that out. Okay, so if they display inline block, basically that is, let's watch what happens here. If I take that out, they start to stack. Inline block means that they display horizontally all the time. Okay, color of the A text, white. text align centered within the box. And we are giving it some padding here. And this is really important. Text decoration, none. Okay, it is extremely uncool to have a yucky blue line underneath your links. So let's take this out. Now look at that. We have a yucky line. Ugly, out of style. Now we have no line, text decoration of none. Okay, when we hover over our link, it's going to change its background color. Okay, to black. So that's our, and I have this, again, I have all this code up on D2L so that you can see it. But that is my basic explanation of how to create a horizontal menu. And I would encourage you, so I have drop-down menus saved in a code snippets file. I would encourage you to develop your own code snippets file so that anytime I need a drop-down menu or anytime I need a horizontal menu, I have the CSS all ready to go. So let's look at this. So actually I have to update this. I didn't save it. So it's giving me the underline. So you can see that every page has, whether it has content on it or not, it has this menu in it. And I have created a lot of the content for this website, but as you can see under type vocabulary, there's nothing there. So I want you to create and name every page. I want you to put it in your unordered list. And you're going to worry later about what the unordered list content for each page is. All right, so I'm going to sign off for that for now. Just remember, keep some, I've got the code snippet up there. Feel free to use it and change it to suit your purposes. Feel free to make it your own and keep saving your own library of code snippets for the future. And that is how to make a horizontal menu using CSS and HTML. I hope you enjoyed this. Bye-bye.